early in the morning, heart of South Philly. Let's go see what the people have got to say. I'm ready to roll, baby.
Now listen here, Dutch. Mets and the Cowboys, they suck.
1, 2, 3, go Birds! Go Birds! What we got? 302BIRDS, Gino Stinks. Go Birds! Oh my gosh, Chad.
Your favorite Chicagoan. Go Phils.
As always, God bless. Go Birds.
Get your water ice and soft pretzels ready because you are now tuned into a 302BIRDS podcast experience. Proudly presented by TickPick, Nick's Pizza, El Diablo Burritos, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street. Let's take it to the show.
What's up, baby? Welcome to another episode of 302BIRDS. If you guys couldn't tell, fall is in the air. The Phillies are starting to fuck it. Tom is starting to get pissed. He's starting to yell. Dalton's, talking about Halloween way too early. I got a new Halloween decoration. Yep, there's my little Eagles pumpkin. You guys can see it back there. Look at that. Look at that. But fall is in the air. Eagles football is almost here. This Saturday, a big game against the Vikings. Very, very excited to be back for you guys. Sorry about the tech issues earlier. If you're listening on Spotify, you don't even know what I'm talking about, but that doesn't matter. We're here to cover everything new in Phillies sports for you guys. First up, we're going to talk about the Phillies' current series against the Braves. Then we're going to talk about the Sixers' new look. If Greg is still calling in, he has been radio silent. You guys know Greg, our old friend from college, returning to the show. Then we're going to talk about what the hell is going on with the Flyers, led by our favorite Flyers fan, Ash. We're going to talk about the Kenny Pickett trade and why this guy should get the hell out of here and why they should ship him off to Minnesota. We're going to talk about, speaking of Minnesota, the preseason finale, Dejean's debut, Huff's expectations, and last but not least, the linebacker battle. But we don't have a call-in for you guys. We still want to thank El Diablo for everything that they do for us, but we're actually going to go right into the ballpark after that, which I'll just say it first and I'll let you take it, Tom. If you guys can't see right here, I have a beautiful pizza box hanging on my wall. I might have to get Tommy a pizza box too. Stay tuned. Maybe with pizza in it though, too. That's like the surprise.
As a large man of stature, I would appreciate a pizza in it.
See that? Nick's Pizza. Everybody loves Nick's Pizza. I got 3 compliments about your pizza today, Nick. My dad called me because my sister brought home the grandma's, which was amazing. It's a circle pizza. She loved it. I got the Detroit style. So if you guys are in Delaware and haven't tried Nick's Pizza yet, please give it a try. Also, if you haven't tried El Diablo Burritos yet, give it a try. I want to thank both of those local businesses for being our first 2 sponsors of Season 7.
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo Burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking how your day is, but their food is phenomenal as well. Their burritos are out of this world, one of the best burritos in town. Their queso is phenomenal. Their burrito bowls are amazing as well. When you're in and around Delaware, stop by your local El Diablo Burritos and tell them that 302BIRDS sent you.
Time for Phillies talk with Bob Tommy. Dinger Stitch.
A dinger of a pizza indeed, Dutch. As Dutchy, you were saying, we'd like to thank Nick's Pizza as usual. Oh, and I'll shout out El Diablo as well, Dutch, because you know what? Unlike Chipotle, they don't skimp on their portion sizes. I'm just saying. It's always like, it's like a small child every time you get a burrito from El Diablo. Oh, I love El Diablo. But that's besides the point. Dutch, what are you thinking lately?
Tom, I'm upset, man. But I know if I'm upset about the Phillies, You got to be freaking livid.
Oh, I'm very livid. It's like hope and despair more so. Like I feel like I'm going through the 7 stages of grief. First there was the sadness, then there was the anger. Like there was anger there for a good bit. Then there was just acceptance, and now it's just like, hello darkness, my old friend. Like I don't see that. Like every time I think they're finally starting to turn the corner, like that national series was great. They should have swept them though. Oh, as soon as they lost Sunday, I knew they were going to lose yesterday. The bats started to fall cold again yesterday. Hey, then today it's 2-2 right now at the time of us recording.
Actually, no, it is not. It is 3-2 Phils.
Oh, that didn't come across my phone yet. So Ash, you're ahead of me.
I must be. Yeah, trying to figure out what exactly happened. Please hold. It just popped up. The score was 3-2. So there's my stinking play-by-play.
They got a sacrifice fly. Dusty Watson hates the sacrifice fly. Hey, this has been an ongoing discussion with me, my girlfriend, and the couple that sits next to us for our season tickets. We talk about how Dusty Watson hates sacrifice flies. They're actually at one of the lowest points of converting sacrifice flies this year. And just not putting the ball in play when you have a runner on third and less than 2 outs. So it's great to see them actually doing it. It's a great title at the bottom there, them playing small ball. Who would have ever thought that they all of a sudden could play small ball and do a sacrifice fly? So that's great to see with the lead. Now let's see if they can hold said lead, because I think Alvarado still needs to pitch at some point tonight.
Oh,
so
gosh.
stay tuned, because we already used Hoffman, we already used Strom. We're only in the 8th. We're not in the 9th yet. So Carlos Estevez, which is still a fabulous name for a closer. Now pitching to close it out, Carlos Estevez. What a badass name. And he's got the lights that go off, the music. He is like the perfect
Sound like you're
guy
bricked up over there.
What?
I said you sound like you're bricked up over there.
I am bricked up for Carlos Estevez.
I get it. Everybody has their favorites. Like for me, it's Ranger Suarez. What's the update on Ranger? When is he supposed to be back?
He's supposed to start on Saturday in Kansas City.
Where are you watching the game at? Are you at the shore this weekend?
No, I have to move Lisa into St. Joe's. That's where I'll be this weekend.
Hey, a fellow alumni. The Hawk will never die. I appreciate that. Well, there you go.
Those are my fun weekend plans. I'm moving my sister to college. That's what I get to tell.
Good old ballpark Tommy doing the Lord's work. But yeah, with the Phillies right now, my biggest frustration has just been I think I said it last week on the show, or maybe it was on the post game. They just seem like they don't want to help themselves.
No.
It seemed like they just fell down and died. And they're all waiting on each other, like somebody else. It's like Call of Duty or Nazi Zombies or whatever that game was. Never played it as a kid, but all my friends played it. When you would revive somebody, they're all waiting on somebody else to revive them. But it's like you need to be the guy to just be the hero. Somebody needs to step up and be the hero right now for the Phillies, because it's frustrating. And honestly, a lot of people are saying that Philly Rob is to blame, that Philly Rob should get some more shit for it, because Philly Rob isn't hard enough on the guys, and Philly Rob isn't vocal enough, and this and that. Do I believe that? Look, I'll say this. Philly Rob definitely has the respect of this locker room. Going to the World Series, and then I think it was the NLCS last year, proves that. There's no coincidence in that. Tom is the one who showed that to me. Girardi was, also a proven manager, but he couldn't do it. Do sometimes I wish that Philly Rob was more vocal? Yes. Maybe the Phillies need a different, Doug Peterson. That was what worked with the Eagles that year, was Doug Peterson knew that he was the overall head coach. He couldn't be, the OC. He couldn't be the defensive coordinator. He had to just kind of overall see the whole operation, and that's what worked. Maybe that's what Philly Rob needs to do. I don't know. Fratty. last but not least, Fratty said in the Facebook group, I love this take. He wants Ricky Bo for the Phillies, man.
That's a horrible take. I'm going to be honest with myself. I couldn't have thought of a stupider take in my life.
Oh my God. No mercy from Ballpark.
Like, I saw that take and I knew it was time to be done with the internet for a little bit. That's when I closed the app out.
You ever see that like meme on Twitter? I think it's from Cat Dog, where he walks in the mouse into the door and then he sees something and then he walks out. That's
exactly what I did. Ricky Bo is all emotion and no logic. He just spouts his mouth. He still acts like a child from what I hear about his
I love Ricky Bo.
We won't talk about that. And the dude, let's face it, he blew it in the 90s more times than not. He was an all-star. I'll give him that. He was an all-star. But like, who's he really to like know a winning ways? After 93, they never made it back to the playoffs until 2007.
Hanging on. That's literally, dude, I'm going to Photoshop your face on him and then put the Facebook app as the door. And then Fratty's message right there that Ricky Bo should be the manager. Can you send me a picture of the back of your head at this angle, please? Then I'm going to Photoshop the back of your head walking out the door.
Because the back of my head be looking ridiculous.
No, it's just, I can't put the
He missed that reference, Jack.
Yeah, I know.
Jack got it. I could see Jack's face. Jack understood that reference.
Oh my God, that was funny, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, hear me out. This is really rough patch for these Phillies. Jose Alvarado cannot throw a freaking strike. We saw that yesterday. And either we need to figure something out with him or do something, because what we walked in a guy, loaded the bases up, walked in a guy from walking, and like it's like, dude, like you were originally that closer before we got an actual closer, and you were throwing, fire, and then all of a sudden you just fall off. So we got to figure out what the hell is going on, pitching wise. And like Tommy said, we got to get those bats going because we have the literal best hitters, I think, in the league, one of the best hitters in the league, and we can't do shit. Last night, Bryce Harper, did he even get a hit?
No. The top of the order went 0 for 12 with 7 strikeouts.
And not to mention, like, Whit Merrifield came out of nowhere and got a triple yesterday. Like, what the hell was up with that?
He batted 199 over the course of the whole season with us. Just with the Braves now, since he's been released from us, he's batting 251 coming into tonight's game with 5 home runs out of his 9 home runs. So he already has more home runs with the Braves and less at bats too. Like, I'm over shit.
This is the Deshaun Jackson effect, y'all. That's what this is.
Except Deshaun was actually good, is what Tom's gonna say. Like, we
Deshaun was
respected Deshaun.
He
It's
was
just coincidental
but
with
it's the
Whit.
same thing. He went up to bat, and my younger brother Sean looked at me and he's like, "He's gonna have a great game." I'm like, "I sure hope not, but you're probably right."
Yeah, that is
really
the Philly
thought
effect.
that Schwarber was that grand Schwam, as it was called in the Estes household, was going to really like turn the tide of this team, and it seemed like for a little bit it did. But it's frustrating, man. This is just like there are games and innings that it's like watching paint dry. It is just painful.
If I see another ground out to the third baseman, I'm gonna lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, I'm going to send you this parlay. I want you to tell me how likely this is of hitting for the Phillies right now. Or actually, I could just read it out to you on the show. So I have a parlay down right now, $10 to win $94. Money line Phillies, under 10.5 runs. Strikeouts of Nola. Did he throw for over 4.5? Did he throw 5 strikeouts tonight or more?
I'm not sure.
We're going to have to look up on that. There was a lot of I hate Nola, so maybe not. Bryce Harper to have over a hit, Alec Boehm to have over a hit, and Trey Turner to have over a hit. That's it.
It's very unlikely. Especially the way they've been
Motherfucker.
hitting.
Sorry.
Very, very unlikely. Especially that last half of that parlay.
Oh God, the hitting must just be trash tonight. All right, well
trash for a month.
Let's just get out all of our frustrations and all of the negativity in the beginning of the show, as we normally do here in typical 302 Birds fashion. Sorry about that. I got freaking like 30 things up right now. But let's go ahead into our next segment, which is actually the Philadelphia Flyers being in shambles. And I hate to put it like that, but it's really not anything new for us to be saying that about the Flyers. The best thing about the Flyers right now, they had a great year, but it feels like their long-term plan isn't there. It feels like there's a lot of dysfunction within the organization. And the last point that I'll make, the best part about the Flyers right now is gritty. So you guys see that shirt right there? Those two big eyes, not the pumpkin, the other one that's looking over me. If you guys want to get our new Halloween shirt, check out the link in the bio. We got them on there. They're for sale right now. It's honestly like my favorite shirt we've ever made. If I could wear it year round, I would. I'm not exaggerating. You can ask Jack. I hate the color orange, but Halloween for some reason is literally my favorite holiday. Don't know why, but cop them for yourself if you guys want. They're freaking awesome shirts. But Ashley, why don't you go ahead and take it first? Go ahead and kick us off. How are you feeling about the whole dysfunction?
I'm going to say this about our next two topics of the night. It's an organizational issue. This is not, I mean, obviously, this is a little bit more of a player issue in this particular situation. However, we are not doing a good job of creating any sort of locker room kind of atmosphere that we need to. This is a whole issue that I don't think we're ever really going to know exactly what's going on. It basically seems like he lied about an injury situation when he was being traded. That's the kind of stuff that I've been reading about this situation. And obviously the Flyers, due to legal issues, are not able to comment further on this. This is not how you want to be getting ready to go into your season at all. We have not had good luck. We had the whole Carter Hart situation at middle of last season as well. Again, this is an organizational dysfunctional issue. And truly, gritty is the only thing that's holding this organization together. And that is a really, really sad thing to say.
I'll put it into a little positive. The only positive that I really see, just so we can stop the doom scrolling. I know I made the Phillies seem like a total woe.
Way to take the fucking wind out of our sails, Tom.
Yeah. Is Danny Briere being there has brought a sense of professionalism back to the Flyers that I don't think we've seen in years, thanks to Chuck Fletcher. Chuck Fletcher, if he ever steps foot in Philly again, I think is public enemy number one behind who was our last
Gannon?
But who?
Jonathan Gannon. I was like,
well, Jonathan Gannon and whoever the last mayor was, it was an absolute shitstorm. Between the three of them. They all can, and our boy who is now two managers ago at this point, Gabe Kapler, they're all public enemy number one if they ever step foot in this city again. But Danny Briere's brought a sense of professionalism back to this team, which I love to see. I think he's been given a tall task. It may seem like it's in shambles, but I think he's like on cleanup mode right now. Like he's got to clean up the mess before he can start to rebuild. It's like
Howie after Chip.
Yeah. Like right now, like the whole area is like a disaster zone of like a building that just collapsed. And he's got to like remove the rubble first before he can rebuild in that same spot. If that makes it, that's a good analogy to use, you know, like he had to clean up after the whole Carter Hart situation, which Chuck Fletcher knew about because it was from 2018. And he came into that situation. He came into a high cap usage despite having shitty player situation. He had to figure that out. He had to figure out this whole Ryan Johansson, Andrew Bynum-like situation where he essentially was just going to suck money out of us for as long as he could, knowing he had this injury that he was never probably going to play again and wanted really no parts of being a real part of this organization. And he had all these shitty situations he just had to clean up because Chuck Fletcher absolutely put this organization in a horrible spot for years to come. He signed Travis Konechny, who's arguably been our best player for the last few years, to a long-term deal. We at least have him locked up.
Mm-hmm.
We got Mitchkov over finally. He cleaned up that situation with Russia and his service time and all that. Like, he had to clean up that whole mess that Chuck Fletcher almost botched and almost got this guy to have to serve in the Russian military for a few years because he didn't know like how the typical public relations normally goes between the Russians and the NHL. Oh, then he also had to clean up with the goalie situation, his military service time. So as a whole, you're right, Dutch. He's like Howie after Chip. He's just been on cleanup mode after cleanup mode after cleanup mode. I think he's finally getting to a point of where he can finally be like, all right, we can start building towards something. But Chuck Fletcher, I knew it was really bad. Every day that I find out Danny Briere has to do something, and it just shows you how terrible Chuck Fletcher is. If Chuck Fletcher ever has another job in the NHL, has another job other than flipping burgers at McDonald's, well, it should be a crime.
I can't wait till he's your coworker one day at something or something like that. That would be freaking hilarious. It's like you start working for the Flyers or something. Like they're like, oh, we need a CFO. Who should we go get? Oh, Tom Salucci, this local cat. We heard he's crushing it right now. We're going to ask him. And then like you have to like work with him. But I will say this. Could you bring up that? Thank you, Jack. Sean, I love this comment, man. For those listeners on Spotify, the comment says Philly sports as a whole has been heartbreaking. In Jalen, we trust to turn it around. I was thinking about this comment. Anybody who's been a committed Philly sports fan the past 5 years specifically, like maybe even you could say 6 years, 2018, 2019, post Super Bowl era, who's still stuck around. It's been tough. But I will say, like Tom said, usually after, darkness comes a light and good things will happen. So I do see the Eagles starting to actually turn things around this year. I do see the Flyers starting to turn things around this year. I do see the Phillies actually coming to bounce out of it and do something productive this year. Something. I don't think that they're going to fall flat on their face. Mark my words, knock on wood. But I do want to say, Philly fans, just buckle up because I think we're in for a treat of something soon. We just don't know what it is. Moving along now to our next segment. You notice who I didn't say on there. That's because Jack Dornan has pretty much sold me on why we should not support the Philadelphia 76ers. But bring it in, our Sixers guest. Welcome him back to the show. Greggy, how you been, man?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Great.
What's going on?
So how are you feeling about this whole offseason with the Sixers? Were you happy with a lot of these additions? Were you upset? I mean, one right off the top of the dome that I would like to talk about. How are you feeling about them not bringing back Bantam, the, LeBron of Tobias Harris's? Batum, sorry.
You know what? Batum was a loss, but we replaced him with Eric Gordon, another veteran guard, another 3-and-D player. We've been through these guys like fucking candy, like you look at Batum, that was our replacement for PJ Tucker, and now we have Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon's a great piece, though. I mean, he played great for the Suns. He's super cheap, and he can play off the bench now, which is cool. My biggest qualm with this is I think we have a great team. I think our main issue is height. You look around, we're pretty short. Caleb Martin as a power forward is a little bit of a stretch. He's smaller for a power forward, but he'll be good. And if you want to talk Yabi Suele from the French team, I think he's going to be great, but he's going to be a bench player. He's not going to see a lot of time. You got to remember, we had two players going into this. We had Maxey, we had Embiid, and we built an entire team around it. So we built a bench. You're not going to see everyone play, but they're all role players. Ricky Council looked great in the summer league. Tyrese Maxey's going to be amazing again. Caleb Martin was a great addition. I thought we got him for a steal. I think our team looks great. Starting five looks great. We have Kelly Oubre back. just everyone's looking really good. I think it's going to be a really good season with everyone. I think that we built a really solid team. It's really balanced. My only issue is a worry that it's a little too old, such as paying Paul George a lot of money as a 34-year-old, I think it is. That's my only issue with it. I don't think we're going to have him for that entire contract. I think we're going to have him for 2 years. And if we bust, get rid of him. So, I mean, that's fine. I hate the cycle of getting people with bad playoff credibility, like Harden, like Doc, like all these people that are great but never made deep in the playoffs, and we trust them, but then we realize, oh, they never made deep in the playoffs for a reason. So I don't know. I love Andre Drummond. That's awesome. Great rebounder. Then we got Bona on the bench. So if Embiid ever gets injured, Andre Drummond's just going to be he's a starting caliber center. He showed down. He out rebounded Vucevic on the Bulls as off the bench. Like the only reason he didn't have the best rebounding percentage in the league is because he rode the bench. He didn't have as many minutes. So I mean, Drummond's amazing. It's gonna be a great team. Jared McCain's gonna be amazing. He's gonna bring a lot of depth for shooting. Kyle Lowry's fixed our passing issue. Yeah, it's gonna be an amazing team. I can't wait to see him.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, cool additions to this team, right? But at the same time, it's like it's all old. And if we want to be successful, I feel like we have to be young. Paul George, I guess a great addition. I mean, he was a high caliber player, throughout his career in the NBA. But at the same time, it's like, why would we get somebody this old, 33 years old, and, still keep adding all these veterans? Because, we want to get the discounted price, right? But that's not going to help us. Granted, these are veterans. They've been in the league for a while. They know how to, play in the league and shit like that. But at the same time, it's like there's no youth in this team. And I feel like that's how moving forward, that's where we're going to be successful. Because with age comes injuries. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there is youth in this team, but we're either old or we're either young. We don't really have an in-between unless you want to count Kelly and Caleb Martin, who are the in-between. I mean, you got Maxey, who I would still say is relatively young, just got off his rookie contract. And you got a lot of people like Dowling Jr., he came off the G League for us. Bona drafted, McCain drafted. Those are all young kids, right? But then you got the old guys. You got Drummond, you got PG, you got Embiid, you got Kyle Lowry. You got people who are a year off from retiring, like Eric Gordon, like all those guys, right? So it's kind of like, I hope it's not like when LeBron brought all those old heads like Melo and those guys to like the Lakers, and it just didn't mesh. I hope it's not that case. I don't think it's that case, but I can't help but fear that. But we'll just have to see, man. I'm super hopeful. I'm super excited for the season. I think it's going to be one of the best seasons. I think we at least have 2 years to try this out before we blow it all up. But I think Daryl Morey did a great job. I can't wait. I mean, we can be skeptical. We can be scared all we want. But, like, it doesn't matter until the season starts and we see what happens.
I'm just ready for my second round exit yet again.
Tom, stick to baseball, dude. Should you be watching the Phils? Are we still winning?
I'm like flipping back and forth on my phone right now between this and that.
Are we still winning?
That's a true fan. If he's that committed to this show that he's not watching the Phillies, we are very, very lucky to have ballpark time. Look, they're both checking it on their phones right now.
They won.
Did they? Yeah. My phone did. Oh, Whit Merrifield for the last out.
Fuck you, Whit. I hate you, Whit.
God, I hate Whit Merrifield. Oh, and he was so smug in his post-game interview yesterday. God, is there's ever a person I hate.
Anyway, we talked about your Phillies or whatever. Now we'll go into these Eagles. I say no. We should not trade Kenny Pickett, okay? Because I think he is that good. He's had some bright games and some down games, this preseason. But I think he's a good addition to the team.
Why would you ever trade him? Why? He's a starting
Yeah,
caliber
what would you?
quarterback on your bench, and like, if let's God forbid Jalen Hurts' leg goes the opposite way. You know what I mean? Like, you have a starting caliber quarterback on your bench. I know trades in the NFL never made sense to me. They never made sense to me. You know what we trade him for? We trade him for a 5th round pick. Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, there's no point in trading him.
No, I think he's more reliable. Like Greg said, like he had that starting role at the Steelers, and then Trevor or McKee or whatever. I mean, I don't think he's that good of a player, and I think Kenny Pickett is that better, secondary quarterback that we need and can be reliable with him.
Personally, Jack, I think Tanner McKee's the next Lamar Jackson, but that's just me. No, I'm kidding. I agree with both of you. I don't think there's much value you're going to get out of him. He hasn't performed great over his 2 years in the NFL. Like, he's performed to the point of what I would think is a solid backup, is how I would describe him. That being said, with the 17-game season, Hurts is bound to get hurt. Every quarterback in the league is bound to get hurt for at least a game or two anymore with how many games there's played. So you need somebody who's a solid backup. That's where he's going to be good. Tanner McKee has no official snaps other than in the preseason. And so I don't see why it would be a bad thing to keep this guy. I think he's more valuable on your bench backing up Hurts than he is being traded somewhere else. And you're only and at worst, or at best, or no, really at worst, you're improving a rival of yours. Why would you trade him to the Giants if you think he's any good? And if you think he's really trash, fine, trade him to the Giants because then it's 2 easy wins that year, and leads to better positioning. And why would you trade him to Minnesota? It could hurt where your seeding is in the playoffs. Same argument with the Saints, and then with the Raiders. Why would you give a franchise that's desolate and full of despair any sort of hope and revive them to possibly you probably won't see him in the Super Bowl, but like why let a wild card like that even enter the chat? So I don't think it's time to go for Pickett.
I'll tell you why.
Why?
I would say this. At first, in my notes, I have all these bad things to say about Kenny Pickett. But now I'm thinking about it. And Kenny Pickett is literally the definition of mid. Like, and that's not necessarily bad in a way.
But that's what you want out of your backup quarterback.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That now I'm convinced because of Tom. And that's what Nick Foles was. When Nick Foles came to this team, there were a lot of people that when Nick Foles first came, when we were our freshman year, and they were like, Nick Foles is not a good player. He didn't work out in Philadelphia. He's mid. We've seen it before. Why are they bringing him back? To an extent, there's a good thing about just being mid because you're not ass. Like, it's like, okay, if we can game plan for mid, we might be able to win. The thing is, I really want to see what Kellen Moore can do this game. Here's what should happen, realistically. Kellen Moore should throw up an insane game plan for Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett should ball out this game no matter what. There's not an if, and, or but about it. Jalen Hurts should probably play the first half, maybe first quarter, and then Kenny Pickett, I would say, should probably play the rest of the game. Not rest of the game, but like majority of the rest of the game. What I would like to see, though, is after that, I want you to let the dog out of the cage. I want you to let Howie pick up the phone, like I said, on the Eagles post-game show. And if you guys aren't doing anything after the Vikings game on Saturday night, come watch me and Jack. We'll be doing the Eagles post-game show as always. I want Howie Roseman to pick up the phone and call the Vikings and say, hey, what are you realistically going to give up for him? Because I know you need a quarterback. And mid, to an extent, is not a bad thing. The Vikings love mid. Case Keenum. Kirk Cousins. Do you want me to keep going? I can.
I don't think Kirk Cousins is mid. I don't think
I think Kirk Cousins. his results were mid. It's fair to say. I don't think he's a mid player. I'm with you. I think he's a good player, but his results are
play
mid.
at night.
Yeah, he could. Primetime Kirk. You're right, Tom.
Hear me out. I don't think this is worth even trading because in reality, like you said, Dalton, what do we really need and what will we get for him? Because I think
what if they offer a second round pick or a first round? Would you take it? I would take that in a heartbeat.
I would take it for him because I think whoever's on the other side of the phone's an idiot.
Yeah.
Would you, Jack? What would be your line in the sand where you would be like, okay, it's over, take him?
Yeah, I mean, for a pick would be good, but I don't think the Vikings, like a first round pick, I don't think the Vikings are that dumb to get an average or mid quarterback. And I think, like I said, I think Kenny Pickett and like Josh's comment, Kenny Pickett is a better quarterback than McKee. I think he is a more reliable quarterback too than McKee. So even if, knock on wood, Jalen Hurts goes down, I feel like I'll be confident that Kenny Pickett will do a good job. So I think we keep him as a QB2 and, see what he can do. The other dude that we have that we got some reps in, I'm not even sure his last name, he's ass. After McKee. I forget he had that nice tattoo or whatever, but he's ass. So I think we stick with him and rock with him because I think Kellen Moore will change his perception on the game and make him into a better quarterback.
Is it me or does he kind of look like Morgan Wallen too?
He kind of looks like Morgan Wallen.
I can't get it out of my head now that I've just keep looking at him. The one thing I'll say too about Josh's comment, I do think Kenny Pickett strikes me as a better QB, a leader. You know what I mean? That's who you would picture being all right, guys, in the huddle, which isn't a bad thing. But I think what the Eagles and the front office really need to evaluate this game is what mid is going to be good enough and what mid is going to be more consistent. That's a very important thing in football because you can be mid on average. You know what I mean? Where it's you have up and down games. I don't want that kind of mid. I would rather have an 81.4 or 82.3 passer. You know what I mean? Every game. I'm saying with Jalen Hurts. I have higher expectations for him. I'm talking about for a backup QB. But I would rather have an 81, 82, 83 passer every game and know what I'm getting and primarily run the ball than a guy that's going to have a 120 game one day and then going to have, a 75, 60 game the other day. So
that's kind of what we had with Nick Foles, though. He was pretty streaky. He was either setting an NFL record and his helmet was going to Canton or he was struggling it out with the Raiders for a 6-3 victory to keep us in the number 1 seed.
But that 3-game stretch, because they utilized this man, LeGarrette Blount, they game planned for it, and you're right, he wasn't consistent throughout his career. But that 3-game stretch, and maybe that's what it could be for Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee. So let us know in the comments. That's going to be the question of the week. Getting back into the question of the week. If you're on Spotify listening, be sure to answer it on there. Let us know. Who do you guys think is more mid, as a better mid, would you rather see as the backup quarterback? Give some context to your answers.
And is Dalton mid in NCAA football? I think so. What?
Jack is trying to bait me into playing a video game tonight that I don't know if I have the time to do, but I'm probably going to fucking do it now because he's a bitch. But anyway, Jack, I'm very excited not only to kick your ass later when we play that game, but to do the post-game show with you on Saturday. And look who's there as well. So Saturday afternoon, we're going to be talking about Eagles-Vikings. Guest star Zeppy. Are you any quick thoughts on the Eagles-Vikings? Sorry, whoopsie.
Yeah, don't watch. Yeah, we know who's going to make the team. That's really it.
I agree with you, Josh.
This is
you fucking hate anything about football that doesn't involve the regular season or postseason, Tom. If it's anything before that date, you hate it.
I love preseason week 1 and 2. I love player development. This nobody's making the team is playing on Saturday.
No, dude. Okay.
You got me and Dorton out there taking reps. on Saturday. That's what's happening.
You're
Yeah,
right.
I had-
Invincible.
I had more yards than you in my high
He
school
did.
career
He did.
than you did, and you were
He did.
receiver, and I was offensive line. So
There's
Yeah,
actually a lot of positions that are up for debate, Josh. Cornerback 2, linebacker 2, slot wide receiver, tight end 2. And I just want to say something real quick. What the hell was up with releasing my guy today, CJ Uzma? Tom knows I love to say it like that whenever I play it in Madden in college. But seriously, Uzma's a good tight end, and he's way better, I think, than that guy Jacob Harris that has like multiple drops throughout the postseason. So I didn't really agree with that because the Eagles, not tight end 2, I should say, because once injury happens, but like tight end 3, and it's going to be more of a by committee offense in every position, except for obviously quarterback and like Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and Dallas Goedert.
And
But-
Saquon.
And Saquon, yes, of course. But after that, I mean, it's going to be a real by committee offense and defense. So I don't know. I didn't really agree with the Uzma release. Jack, Josh, you guys making faces? Thoughts?
He wasn't good.
but he's a
He didn't
reliable
even get
tight
an
end, I think.
opportunity.
Yeah, no, he's a veteran. He's been on the team for a while.
Well,
No, he hasn't. They
Yeah,
just picked him up like fucking a week and a half ago or
Uzuma?
2 weeks ago.
CJ Uzma, yeah.
Who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of the linebacker or whatever.
Calcaterra.
Calcaterra.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's-
yeah,
he's
yeah.
tight end
I think
too.
he's
My
injured
bad.
right now. That's who I was referring
Is
to.
it
He'll
Calcaterra
probably
or is it
win
Jack
the 2 or
Stoll?
3.
Did
No,
we
Jackson
trade-
was on the team.
Okay.
before. Yeah. No, Calcaterra is going to be number 2. Yeah, I think that Uzuma might be like I think he's too much of a veteran to go to the practice squad. Let me put it that way.
I mean,
Jack?
he had a solid career in Cincinnati. I mean, he was that reliable tight end. I think we should have gave him more of a chance in preseason. But I mean, preseason is so fake. Like it is we already know who's making the team. They already know who's making the team. And I just think one preseason game is all you need just to see those guys that, are kind of borderline to make the team. But, I'm excited. The Vikings, the game doesn't really matter. But I'm excited to watch some football, baby.
Who's playing quarterback for the Vikings?
You are.
I could. Oh, Nick
Pickett.
No, Nick Mullen.
Sure. Nick
Mullen's
Mullen's kind of reliable.
Wait, I thought it was Sam Darnold.
Well, no,
I think it is
playing
Darnold.
Saturday.
Are you talking about he's playing Saturday or like?
Yeah, it's gonna be Nick Mullen.
Sorry,
We've seen him play.
I misunderstood.
And I'm excited. I truly am excited, as we all are, as Philly fans, to see DeJean's debut. I think we're excited to see what he can do, how reliable he is, how good of a player he is, and carry those talents he brought from Iowa. I think it's good to see him play.
What's your favorite part about Cooper DeJean?
He is just
What's your favorite characteristic about him?
he's a ball hawk.
Yeah, there. I was thinking the same thing, guys.
Ball hawk, baby.
Yeah.
So I think
lockdown defense.
I think this is going to be, like I said to you guys previous episodes, I think
Holding it down for the white boys.
Whoa, he's white.
that cornerback position, I think is going to be interchangeable this season. I don't think we're going to see a designated starter. I think it's going to kind of depend on the game plan every game. So
is he going to play more like nickel? Is that like the plan for him?
Yeah, slot nickel. Yeah. Which could be good. If he's on blitzes, dude, oh my fucking God, that's going to be nasty.
What I was seeing was Mitchell is going to play on the outside with Slay, but then when they go to the nickel, they're going to move Mitchell in and Cooper. So put the 2 rookies in at nickel and then move Isaiah Rodgers out to the quarterback 2.
Correct.
As long as we don't have that bum out there.
Who?
That we got from the Giants.
Bradbury?
Yeah.
I think this is the redemption year for Bradbury.
Yeah, I'm back on the Bradbury train. I'm with you. Go ahead. Take it away, Jack.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Jack. I'll back you up after.
A new role for Bradbury. Granted, he has been average at best, maybe even worse. But I think,
oh my God, he's gotten so burnt. They called the fire department.
But I think having him in a new role at safety, I think we'll see a different gameplay from him, and with Vic Fangio, I think this is the perfect marriage, I think. And I really do think this is going to be a redemption season for Bradbury. I mean, I'm excited to see what he can do in this defense. I mean, last season we didn't have a defensive scheme at all. We had 2 defense coordinators that didn't know what the hell they were doing. And I think Vic Fangio, this seasoned vet for defense coordinator, I think we'll see a different gameplay coming from Bradbury. And I'm excited to see what he can do.
I'll put it to you this way. He's still on the team for a reason, too. You know what I mean?
If they wanted to get rid of him,
they would have gotten
he would have
rid
been
of him,
gone.
yeah.
He would have been gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. First play of the season, bomb down the field.
Pick off
Bradbury
Bradbury.
to Deshaun Jackson style, right over Bradbury's head.
I gotta find the fucking picture when we were sitting at your guys' old house. Week 1, I think it was. Fucking Lions, Eagles, 2022. The season hadn't even started yet. And he already had a shit look on his face. It's like, what are you fucking pissed off about? Nothing even happened yet. And Tom's like, the way that they're warming up is like upsetting me. It was something like that. And I'm like, what? Like, and it's like, that's just Philly fans for you, though. That's Delco. That's how it is. So that's what these young guys, DeJean and all these other rookies are going to have. And these new guys, too. Like Bryce Huff are going to have to get used to. I thought Bryce Huff looked excellent as far as like a run defender last week against New England. I thought he had a couple great plays. He looked solid. I think that he's really going to kind of emerge as a real threat in the run stuffing game for us as like one of those bigger guys. Now that Fletcher Cox is gone, you're going to feel that pain. He's not obviously playing in the middle, but I mean, the dude, we saw that one run that it might have been Ramondre Stevenson or somebody else. It was early in the game. It was almost like a counter run, and he had this cut where as soon as he saw that it was a counter, he back cut and ran the other way, and it was beautiful. Like, just his burst of speed. It was like, holy shit, this guy's an athletic phenomenon. Like, that was my first time kind of seeing Bryce Huff in that form, so it was nice to see.
And this may be the same play you're talking about. I don't know. But I saw the highlights afterwards, and there was another run where he took on the block and then kind of just hip tossed the tight end, I think, and got the tackle. So I think seeing those plays, whether they'll get much talk about it or not, I think us as fans seeing those, it gives us a sense of hope, kind of replaced with Hassan Reddick, and I think he's going to be that great player that we're going to rely on heavily this season, especially on D-line. Josh?
I think we're going to have issues getting to the quarterback, in my honest opinion. I think everybody on the D-line can run stop, but I don't know who can get to the quarterback. Josh Sweat, Jalen Carter, that's really it. Jordan Davis is a beast, but he really just like a run stuffer. Like if his bull rush doesn't work, he can't really get to the quarterback. So I think that's like week 1, that's what we want to look for out of Huff. I think he definitely can stop the run, but can he get to the quarterback?
That is my fear. Because Reddick was that, but he wasn't really that last year. And I don't think he's going to be that. Like, I don't think he's even going to play this year. So that's fine by me that we have Josh Huff now. Now,
not Josh.
My expectations of him are of you, Josh. A good-looking guy, successful in his career so far. Or I think he's going to do great things, just like you, Josh. So that's all I got to say is he's a good-looking guy, pretty successful so far with the Jets. I only see good things to come in his future, just like you, Josh.
Thanks, Tom. Buy me dinner first.
I know, right? I don't know. I see him as just like he's a young guy. What, he only played 2 seasons on the Jets so far? Like, he's still pretty young in his career. I think he's gonna develop. He showed a lot of signs of promise last year getting to the quarterback. I don't think he's gonna be as inept at getting to the quarterback as you might fear, Josh. I think
No, I don't know.
Another step forward.
I don't. I think we just need more people who can get to the quarterback. So I hope he's one of them.
I think it helps that there's going to be other threats on that on that defensive line compared to the Jets. Like Jets had a pretty good defensive line last year. However, I think that had more to do with Robert Saleh than it did with their personnel. I think their personnel still is crap up there in New York. I just think Robert Saleh isn't an idiot, which helps. So,
facts.
Excited to see Bryce Huff. Hopefully, he learned some stuff from Saleh, like Tom said, and can bring that to this team because Saleh's not a bad coach. I like Saleh, actually.
Yeah, I do so.
But another exciting development now in this game, another thing to keep an eye on, is going to be this linebacker battle between Nakobe Dean and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. To quote John Clark in his interview, I would love to see Jeremiah Trotter Jr. take the linebacker 2 spot. Devin White has linebacker 1 locked up, no doubt. And also the thing to note, and Jack mentioned this a couple shows back, linebacker is also going to be a position by committee. So all these guys are going to be getting like around 20 to 30% playing time. Now, who's going to be getting more is the real question. I think right now, Trotter may seem to have the stats, but from what I'm hearing out of camp, from what I'm seeing out of preseason, from what everything else is indicating, Nakobe Dean seems to have more heart, seems to want it more, seems to even be saying, I don't care what anybody else is saying right now. I know I'm putting in the work. So he kind of just has this mindset right now of like, look, you may not believe in me. I believe in me. And I think that that's almost exciting. It's kind of like Howie Roseman took a page out of the Packers book when Aaron Rodgers wasn't performing, and they lit the fire under his ass, and they basically said, okay, what can we do to make Aaron Rodgers play better football? Oh, we're going to go draft Jordan Love and show him that he's replaceable. Boom, MVP year after. Now, I don't think he's going to be having an MVP year, you know what I mean? But I could see it being a blossoming year, a breakout year for Nakobe Dean, which has been long overdue. I think it's this year. It's do or die for Nakobe. I don't know if anybody disagrees with me on that. It's definitely do or die year, I think, for Nakobe.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Nakobe Dean was that player that fell to us. We thought high expectations out of him. We haven't really seen much play out of him the past 2 seasons. 1, he's been injured, and 2, he just didn't play at all. So I really do think that this is a make or break year for him because we had high hopes going into the draft when we drafted Nakobe Dean, and he hasn't really performed. So his job is on the line this year because from what we've seen in the preseason, granted, preseason doesn't matter at all, but what we've seen, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is just stat-wise a lot better linebacker than Nakobe Dean. And I really think, for this defense to perform well, we need to see a lot out of Nolan Smith, a lot out of Nakobe Dean, because we haven't seen shit out of them. So I really do think this is his make or break year and see what he can do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely make or break year. He's like borderline Sidney Jones, where when he plays, he's not bad, he's not fantastic, he's completely like playable, but he just gets injured a lot. But I would be very surprised if week 1 it's not Devin White and Nakobe Dean starting. I would almost say it's Nakobe Dean's position to lose. But at the same time, I think he's going to come off on 3rd and longs because his coverage is still kind of shaky, which is fine. I mean, get him down 1st, 2nd down, and then bring in Braun or bring in Trotter on 3rd down. So, or just move to the straight nickel defense and only leave Devin White in. But I think you will see a lot more of Nakobe Dean this year until he proves, if he stays healthy, until he proves otherwise.
You're muted.
I love that quote, Josh. I just texted Ashley that should be the quote of the week. It is Nakobe Dean's position to lose. I mean, my thing, too, is don't forget about Zach Bond. Zach Bond had a really good year last year in New Orleans. I think the Eagles almost have a really good problem at linebacker that they haven't had in a long time, which is where it's like, wow, we have all of these guys that are really good. It's like, shit, like they can literally have a by committee of linebackers now. So I'm really excited to see these linebackers play in the regular season. I think that they're going to be flying around. And the nice thing is when you look at both of them, you look at Bond and White, they're real tackling machines. They're not slow. They're just fast tackling machines. That's what they're known for. They're powerful forces of nature. And then you look at Nakobe Dean and Trotter, and they're both kind of coverage guys. So you have almost the best of both worlds when it comes to 4 linebackers right there. So I really think it's going to be an interesting rotation throughout the year. What happened to Davion Taylor? Is he like still on the practice squad?
No.
He's
No.
done.
I thought he went
got cut.
somewhere else.
I didn't know if he went somewhere else.
He is not.
He's
He's
not.
not
I
on
was
the
thinking of
Eagles
today.
He's not on the
We've been
Eagles
through
roster.
so many guys. That position of like linebacker 3, linebacker 4, linebacker 2
Jordan
has
Hicks.
really been a revolving door.
Cunningham.
Jordan Hicks was like 5 years ago, Josh. I miss it.
Super Bowl season.
Yeah.
Michael
Huh?
Kendricks. Insider trading.
Oh my God. Yeah, true.
But it's okay
I
for
forgot
Nancy.
about that.
I'm kidding.
Maybe he should call up BPT for some advice on how to properly trade legally. There you go.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Nancy
Come
What
on,
a
make sure you have
freak.
all your disclosures in there.
Come on, man. Come on, Michael. But that's all we got for you guys. I just want to make a couple quick announcements. Right after this, the Phillies post-game show is going to be going live, celebrating the Phillies win, talking about that. So be sure you guys tune into that to continue the fun, continue the action. And then Saturday afternoonish, early evening, Jack and I will be taking down the Eagles post-game show. Last but not least, if you guys want to get one of these shirts, as I mentioned, link is in the bio. Probably the last time I'm going to plug them until like October. Just kidding. I know my ass is going to plug them because I love Halloween throughout September. But please go cop one if you guys can. It's really the little things that matter. And last but not least, I also want to thank Nick's Pizza and El Diablo for returning for their second consecutive year to sponsor us. If you or your local business want to sponsor us and you're not a competitor of those said businesses, please shoot me a DM and we can talk about how we can make that possible. I would love that.
I got El Diablo tonight.
Oh, there you go. I got Nick's Pizza tonight. So we're like a really good podcast, true to our word.
I just got the
Jackson,
chips and queso, but it's still good.
Hey,
you got
Josh.
triple queso? Holy shit.
No, chips and queso.
Oh.
Josh,
So
you think you're hot? You think you're hot shit because you came in late, and now we're gonna use one of your quotes that you said. So fuck you for that.
Not the quote.
Without further ado, hey Josh, it's an outro, not an intro. Hit that motherfucking outro.
My name is that.
What we got? Quick
shout out to Sam Nelson from Birds of the Gridiron and also Eagles Mania. Forgot to shout them out during the show. Thank them for all that they do.
Oh my gosh, Chad.
Your favorite Chicagoan. Go Phils.
As always, God bless. Go Birds.